Today's episode is brought to you by Trinity Solar for all your solar needs. This is a zero down, zero cost install to Go Solar. Comes with a 25-year warranty on the solar panels and the roof that's on. If that's something you're into, hit my man Josh in the clouds at 908-235-9526. Welcome back to another edition of Dive In Deep with the Dirty Water Boys. Yours truly, Dirty Water Don here with the big guy.
Ganimal, how you doing, everybody?
And back in the studio, we have the Sea Monster. How you doing, big guy?
All right, guys. Sounds good.
All right, we have Trevor here, all the way from Texas.
Yeah.
How you doing, boss? Glad to be here.
Trevor is the owner and I believe sole proprietor of a wetsuit company that some of you might be familiar with, the Pressure Junkiez.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
I add the to it like a 90-year-old man referring to the Facebook.
Facebook.
Being an owner-operator of a wetsuit company, right?
Yeah.
I have so many questions. How does one decide one day they wake up, they're like, you know what? I want to sling wetsuits.
It's weird, right? Well, I've been diving at the time for about 17, 18 years, and a good buddy of mine I grew up with here in the Poconos, he started a company, cornhole, American cornhole. He started throwing cornhole, started doing really well.
Who doesn't like a good cornhole?
Yeah, well, I like when my girl cornholes me. But Well, let's not go into
That's
it.
a different
Let's
podcast.
not
Yeah, that's the OnlyFans podcast. We'll get into that later.
But no, he was doing this, and he started being successful at it. And he was a welding engineer too, so he was going back and forth welding and doing that. And I was like, man, I want to start something. It would be neat. And I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And I was watching some entrepreneur on TV, and he said something. He's like, they asked him what he invested in. He's like, well, I don't invest in anything I don't know. I have to know what I'm invested in. Even if I don't know it, I try to find out about it if I'm interested in it. Maybe think, well, what do I know?
You know
diving.
You know neoprene.
I know neoprene. I know rubber. I like rubber suits. And
you kinky bastard.
yeah, a little bit.
All right.
You know. So then I just started thinking, what can I do with diving? And started looking into different things, and I've modified wetsuits for me in the past. Doing some things to them to make it work. And I was like, all right,
Did you
let's try that.
The pockets?
Mhm.
I've only encountered pockets on another wetsuit brand does a DUI
Mhm.
and the hot water suits.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the coolest in the world. I'm like, there's pockets out. I'm
Yeah.
like a child. I don't necessarily put things in my pockets while diving.
Yeah.
But now that I have a pocket, I'm like, I put this in here. I
Right.
put my
You're
wallet.
gonna find
you
things
know?
to put in there now.
Yeah, I
Right.
put my wallet in there. So the pockets.
Mhm.
What motivated that?
Overalls, right? So doing a lot of construction diving, you either have a bolt or a wrench or something. You're putting something in a pocket, and I was like, man, a fucking wetsuit would be great to have it. Like you said, I've seen them on custom suits or
Mhm.
really high end suits, and I was like, all right, maybe let's do some pockets, and
Making it industry standard now.
right. So then
Still not. They haven't passed it. It needs to pick up.
So I had some that I designed with like the flap on the top and the Velcro, which then I don't like that for
Because
me
it scares
personally.
the fish away.
Yeah, you don't the
Yeah.
noise. The
You
sharks
can't
stay
get
away.
in there either. You always
Right.
always got one hand with the Velcro. You got to get two hands over there to flop that thing open.
Exactly. So I had some like that, and I didn't like it.
That's a soundbite. The sea monster was a flop that thing open.
Flop
Right.
that thing open.
Mm.
So, and that's what it was like. If we do a lot of inspection, I was using a stick ruler or a crayon or a seamstress tape. It's just easy to slide it in your pocket. It's tight against your body. It's not. I've made them before where they were loose and tight, and this one I like it tight.
So no
when it's
loosey goosey.
No loosey goosey. Can't
Okay.
have
Plus, if you
loosey
find some
goosey.
cool shit under the water, you can
Right.
slide it in your pocket.
Exactly, and
Some pirate gold.
that's how it came about, man.
All
Also,
right.
all my wetsuits have them now, so it's nice when you, like I said, using a stick ruler, and you can just slide it in your pocket. It's there. A bolt, I made them long enough so you could, if you're doing a 12-inch bolt or something, you could slide in there. And
Yeah, 12-inch pocket for
Yeah.
a 12-inch bolt.
right, I got a 12-inch.
I did wear the skins and the socks. They're very comfortable.
Oh, thank you.
But they didn't have a 5X
I
wetsuit.
couldn't fit into that suit yet.
We're gonna
But I'm working on that too.
We're gonna
It's
get
that
one.
chamomile
made.
tea.
It's
We're
a
gonna-
two-way street here,
Yeah,
bud.
we're gonna get this made. We're gonna get this made.
He'll make you a 4X to motivate you.
Perfect.
That's a lot of neoprene.
That's
I
right.
did-
That's the whole 9 yards.
And I'll tell you, like
A lot of men.
I started, I
Lot of
went
man,
up to
a lot of
3X, but now the past year that I've been getting busy and more popular, getting calls. Do you have 4X? Do you have 5X? It's one of those
So
things.
more than just Ganimal has reached out for a 5X?
He's pretty handsome, though.
How you doing, everybody?
I see him in person. You see why we keep him
Yeah,
around.
I see it. But yeah, no, I'm actually getting more people. You get a lot of cave divers. You get a lot of scuba divers.
Hold on. You got a cave diver at 5X?
A lot of fat dentists.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm gonna go cave diving. I need a big wetsuit.
You know, anybody can scuba dive, man. So
I noticed it's 1 degree above LARPing. We
right.
discussed this.
We just talked about that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Anybody can scuba dive. Doesn't matter if you're 10 years old or 500 pounds. You can throw on a BC, jump in the water, and you're lightweight, man. So I've been getting a lot of.
I believe there's some health risks there.
There's health risks, but they don't care.
Fair enough. Just for the record, just for insurance purposes, I do not say yes to 500 pounders in the water. It's not my thing.
But that's what I'm saying.
Although,
I'm
wait,
starting to
let's
get
back up. There's been some really good big divers.
No, I'm not saying there hasn't, but
Big John.
they're commercial divers. They're
Yeah.
swinging a hammer. They're bringing in the power. I respect that. When you're just cave diving, that's a...
Plus, I bet some of those guys didn't start off gigantic. They probably
No.
got gigantic over the years.
Some of them
Wayne
came in big.
I think Wayne started it.
I
out
think
big.
Wayne was
Yeah,
born big.
Yeah,
Massive.
he was a giant. Him and Johnny. I think
I love when he puts on the bottle
Yeah.
and it looks like it's like a 19.
Yeah.
But it's really a 50, and you're like, that looks really small on your back. So you started these things. You started putting pockets on wetsuits, and you started going from there. Now, simultaneously, you're still commercial diving,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you're branding yourself as Pressure Junkies. How did you make that transition from, I like to call it, in the garage,
Right.
doing something, to now being offered at a national level? Because you have companies like Baytech,
Right.
You can call them and buy a Pressure Junkies.
Oh, yeah.
And there's other supply shops you can stop in and buy a Pressure Junkies wetsuit.
Yeah, it all kind of took position. Like I started in 17 with the idea, started getting shirts and stickers, and starting out that way. And from networking and diving, as you guys know, it's a small industry, so I have friends all across the country. Started sending them stickers and shirts and stuff. So I was like, when my wetsuits come out, the brand will already kind of be out there. People have like, hey, I think I've seen that sticker somewhere, right? So I did that, and then being a commercial diver for as long as I have, we do a lot of work with Baytech and stuff. So I had them. So when I got my wetsuits and I finally got the design and got them in production, called up Baytech, said, hey, would you like to carry my stuff?
I started wearing your wetsuits. I was like one of the first ones around with your wetsuit. I had heard about it, saw it, whatever. I always wore coveralls, but not because I wanted to protect the wetsuit, just for the pockets.
Right.
I always had a line. I always keep a line in the back, one back pocket. So if I do a search or tie something off, I always got line. There's certain things I always carry. I always carry a lump hammer. I always carry a piece of line.
You don't carry a lump hammer.
Yeah.
You carry a fucking sledgehammer. Everything he carries is heavy.
It's big. He's a big guy.
For no reason. It's like, why do you need a 15-pounder? He's like, why don't you have one?
Like
my 8-ounce
sea
is like,
monster for nothing though.
I'll send my hammer down. Please don't.
But then, with the pockets in the front zip was also key. It's for people that don't know, most wetsuits are a rear zip. You can't take a leak in the damn thing.
Is that what it is? I thought because you do that Farrah Fawcett, you let the hamburger meat hang out.
And if you get too hot, you could always unzip and let it in some cool water.
Right, yeah.
So that was always really
We were talking
nice.
about that last night about his front zip 2-piece.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Well, no, yeah.
No real reason. Just I'm not wearing it.
But then so my company uses Ocean Eye as a supplier. So I called up Ocean Eye and I said, hey, because we were using Harry's wetsuits.
Yeah, I
And
know who they are. Yeah.
Yeah, he went out of business, and I'm like, look, these Pressure Junkies look awesome. Why don't you start getting Pressure Junkies, and we'll, I'll get them from, I already had an order for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7. Not that that's huge, but that's
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But, I said, hey, I got 5 or 6, whatever. Let's get them. Let's get those in. Check them out. And
Sea
so
Monster
we started.
supplies his divers. He's a foreman, kind of a big deal. Superintendent. I don't know. I'm not sure what his name is.
Foreman.
Super
Foreman.
foreman. So Super Foreman supplies the divers with wetsuits.
Nice.
So that's how I got turned
I buy their
on
wetsuits.
to Pressure Junkies, because he had the sticker on one of his toolboxes, and then he was supplying us with Pressure Junkies.
Plus the name is cool.
Yeah, and the name is
Pressure
cool.
Junkies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the front zip, the pockets, it was like I was sold. It was a good suit.
I'm glad you like him. Yeah, Ocean Eye reached out, and it was nice too, because I'm from Pennsylvania. Then
he's in Pennsylvania.
I leave however many years ago. Then Ocean Eye called me from Pennsylvania. It's like, it's kind of like full circle for me. It makes me feel good that's working, right?
Are you responsible for them having his wetsuits? I'm gonna say you are. I'm gonna say you are.
Well, he told me somebody was looking for him.
Yeah.
He told me one of his customers
Then,
was looking
then
for
Sea
him.
Monster's kind of
Well,
a
hey,
big
thank
deal.
you.
He also
Hey, thank you for the suit.
he accepts hand jobs as well.
But it was just a good thing because we had just lost. That was my favorite company.
Yeah, they make good stuff.
They made good stuff.
Yeah.
And they
What
were
happened
cheap.
to those guys?
During COVID, I just think he just lost people. He was out of Florida, I think. I believe he was out of Florida, and he just lost people. Couldn't keep it going, and just said, "Nah, I'm done," and sold them all off. So I had bought whatever he had left, like in the sizes, because I don't need any larges.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. It's not one guy on my crew that's a large.
Yeah.
Maybe someone's kid. But if it's not,
Wait,
like,
you're supplying kids with wetsuits? I got 5. I'll take
if
5.
it's not like a 2XL or 3XL,
It's not gonna work, right.
It's not going to
Yeah.
work. So then I took whatever he had left over, and then I was like, I had one of your suits.
Yeah,
So I was like, why don't we get these Pressure Junkies? They're working out good.
I appreciate. Yeah.
Now, so during this, you started in 2017. You started with branding yourself with the
Right.
stickers and the T-shirts, and you're giving them out, selling some, getting yourself out there.
Yep.
Then you went from. Now it seems like you went from, like I said earlier, a garage kind of mentality to on a national level.
Yeah.
And that was fairly quick.
Yeah, it was. And I'm gonna use social media, man. Social media did it. I just started getting onto platforms
Mm-hmm.
and started going on all the
forums?
dive forums and all that, and just started posting stuff, and then doing discounts or giveaways. And
So you didn't have like a marketing team.
I mean, now I do.
About time.
Now I do it. Just about not even 6 months ago, because I just don't have the time with doing everything and then still being a
Super
full-time.
foreman? Are you a super
I'm
foreman
a
as
super
well?
foreman. Yep, super
Nice.
foreman.
Wow.
Yep.
You're gonna
Yeah,
use it.
I'm a user. I'm a super foreman.
So you a superintendent or a
But-
foreman?
but
I'm a super foreman.
Well, the
Super
difference is I do supply my guys with wetsuits, but they buy them from me.
Wow. They get a discount?
They get a discount. Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right. Like I like you discount?
He
Yeah.
marks
Oh,
them
yeah.
up first, and
and then
gives them.
discounts them, right?
That's
Yeah.
fucked
It's
up.
like you're going to Walmart at Christmas. It's on
So
sale.
being a gentleman from Pennsylvania, are you a Pittsburgh Steelers fan?
Yes, I would
Because
say
that's-
if I am.
I was guessing the colors.
I would say I am, but I'm not a huge sports fan. And
Me either.
the thing, I am because my grandmother, who died at 92, watched every single
built
sp-
Pittsburgh herself.
built it, right? She lived 45 minutes from the stadium. There wasn't a game that was on till the day she died that she didn't
Is that
watch.
the for the colors? Did you pick that, or just randomly pick those colors?
Random? Yellow's always been my favorite color. But
Really?
Yes, and I love it.
Are
All
you
my-
normally melancholy?
No,
They call me Mellow Yellow.
It just even all my snowboarding stuff growing up, man.
You eat
I
yellow
just
snow?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
That might be the reason why I like
That's
it.
fucked up. I have
And,
a question.
Made
Why
the
did-
Super Light purchase easy.
Yeah,
What color?
Yellow. I noticed your emblems in the center.
Yeah.
I also did that in our company T-shirts. Now, my reasoning, so you can still see the logo with life jacket on.
Oh, I never thought
What
about
is your
that.
reason? Well, I guess that wasn't your reason.
No, I liked it just because that's where I like if I buy a Hurley shirt, I like it. That's where I like it.
In the center.
Right.
Oh, the great fall of Hurley.
Yeah.
Remember how expensive they used to
Yes.
be? Now you get them at TJ Maxx for $7.
$7.
It's amazing.
I love it.
I know. I'm like, wish I can see me now. So you started doing the Pressure Junkies. You started selling wetsuits. Apparently, you sell them to your own crew members at a markup.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that. When you started in commercial diving, what made you get into it? Why'd you want to be a diver?
Oh, my dad dove in the Navy. Now he went out there for EOD and he started doing that. Found out he was colorblind. Couldn't
So
do it.
people that don't know what EOD is,
Explosives, ordnance.
that sounds good. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Demolition?
Explosives underwater ordnance or something.
Okay.
Whatever it is.
So he's colorblind.
Yes.
So he
then
can't cut the red wire.
Right. Yes. Exactly. So he couldn't do it, but he told me about it, and he did some scuba diving in the Navy and did a little burning, and just as a young age. And my dad ended up being a welder. He always welded. I just knew about it at a young age, and I thought it was the coolest shit. And growing up in the Poconos, telling everybody I'm going to go be an underwater welder in the middle of the mountains, people are like, "Yeah, all right, homie."
Good luck with that.
Good
But
luck.
that's the other thing too. Every commercial diver, I got a cousin. He's an underwater welder. Oh yeah, what's his name?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I have a great story
'cause,
with that.
Yeah, we know them all.
Oh, right.
I teach the underwater welding class for the union. So, and I was teaching out in Las Vegas for a while also. So, pretty much if they were an underwater welder on the East Coast, they've come through, or you know what I mean. I've seen them either need a cert, come through to get their cert, or renew. You know. So I'm like, yeah, what's their name?
Right. Yeah, I signed the paper for that. Right.
I'm at a bar in Hoboken about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I'm listening to a conversation of a guy macking to this very, very attractive female and telling her he's an underwater welder. I'm like, I do not know this man.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Are you in my backyard?
I don't know you. That's so weird, right? And again, Bobby teaches the classes, and a lot of times we'll go down and hang out, and you get to meet a lot of people that
Right.
way. And I'm looking, I don't know this guy. I don't know. So the girl excused herself to use the bathroom. So I told him, like, hey, well, Don, again, nice to meet you. At the time, I think I was working for a company called TrevCon. I'm working for TrevCon. Well, where are you working out of? He's like, what? And when he didn't know who TrevCon was, I was like,
Yeah, because around here, they're
they're-
basically the Yankees.
it's a big company. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you not know who you're working for? And he's like, oh, I'm not a diver. I was like, what? He's telling this girl he's an underwater welder, and meanwhile he's a dental hygienist, right? I'm like, I go to the bar, and I'm like, I deliver pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even go with the welding gig, but this guy's using it as a line. I'm like, does this typically work for you?
I
He's
swear,
like, yeah.
I used to tell chicks, I got a paper route and I got a bicycle with 2 baskets and a bell.
Oh, the
And if that didn't get them, I was like, all right,
I give up.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Oh, the conversations you get when you tell somebody you're a diver and all
You
the
see any
questions.
sharks, any bodies?
Every day.
You find treasure, and I'm like,
All the time.
if somebody asks me now, I do marine construction.
Yeah.
That's
it. Just go with that.
That's where it is. I just ended it.
Meanwhile, 90%, they think it's like the greatest thing in the world. 90% of the guys live at home with mom.
right, right, yeah.
All right, I take that as a personal attack. Let the record state I'm living with mom because of a fire, not because I couldn't hang as my own.
She lives with me.
We're roommates. So you started, how long you been there? So 17 years to 18 years?
Diving now, 23. When I started, it was 17
How
years.
old are you?
43.
Wow, you started young.
Yeah, I went to dive school when I was 20. So this year, October will be 23 years ago. I went to the College of Oceaneering.
Right on. You remember your teacher's name?
I have a couple of them. I remember there was Bob Caves, which he just passed away. Duke Ogden was the welding guy. You might know Duke.
Oh, his teacher was, you might know him, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I've
Yeah,
met him twice.
yeah.
He was a carpenter. He was
Twice.
a
He was a
carpenter.
carpenter. But he was the same local. He
The
was a
same
carpenter's
carpenter's
union.
He was
union.
walking on the water as you were under it.
Yeah. You'd walk out there and hand him his Broco rods.
Right.
Yeah?
Here you go.
It's because he's
Greatest
old. It's 'cause
tender
he's
he
old.
was. Jesus, JC was a great tender.
Great one.
So that's a long
You know
time.
what was nice, though? He could walk right over and hand you stuff.
Yeah.
We walked on water.
Yeah, there you go. Here's your,
No
here's your
problem.
No
rod.
down line needed.
You came up, he had some wine for you. It's all good.
I was diving in shit water. Now I'm diving in Merlot. It's so weird.
That's awesome.
So so are you looking to continue branching off into the marketing and the selling of your product? Are you still going to continue working as a diver? Are you doing both
I'm
simultaneously?
doing both simultaneously. Right now, I'm on a project in Corpus Christi, Texas. I've been down there for 5 months. We're removing.
You hiring?
We can. We
Okay.
are looking.
Just wonder.
We're removing a bunch of pipelines underneath the ship channel. They're coming in dredging and making it deeper and wider. So
Mhm.
we've been down there removing a bunch of different pipelines for a long time.
That's actually one of his nicknames. Deeper
Pipeline?
and wider.
Oh, I thought it was pipeline because
No,
damn.
no, deeper and wider.
I have a lot of nicknames.
A lot of nicknames, many hats. So you're down there. You're going to keep doing both of these things. So
Yeah.
that explains why you're bringing on a marketing person to take some of the workload.
Yeah, and so it's a lot, man. It's a lot, but I do. And the problem is, people ask me, "Are you going to quit diving?" I just love it. I do. I really, really enjoy my job. I've had
Really?
a really successful career with it. I'm doing it for 23 years. I've never had time off. I'm one of those lucky people who's stayed busy. But again, I've left home. I grew up in the Poconos, moved here, went to dive school in California, came back here, worked in Baltimore, worked in Florida, worked in Michigan.
How was Baltimore?
I liked it.
Did you?
Yeah,
I did one job in Baltimore.
yeah.
Never again.
Yeah, well, I left in 2007. I haven't been back.
That's fair. So where'd you go to dive school? Was it California?
California was the College of Oceaneering before it shut down.
I went to a New Jersey one, also shut down.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Where's the owner of that one at now?
Let me check my role. A prison.
Oh, yeah,
actually.
I thought it was a hotel somewhere.
No, I believe it's a federal pen.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
so. Yep.
Yeah, but once they get out, they call it college.
Yeah.
Yeah. went to college. She came out
She
with
went to
spider
college.
webs and teardrops. Like, what did you do in there? Went through a lot of broomsticks.
Right.
That's messed up.
Yeah, it's not
So
good.
my owner of my school is in jail now.
Yeah.
But incidentally enough, because she went to jail, I got all my money back.
Really?
Yeah. Because she was discredited. Now, during the time frame that I was in there, and because I was discredited, but I took all my when I hooked up with Sea Monster, he was like, "You need to continue your career, take notes, and send it out, and get your new certs and everything
Yeah.
like that. Instead of being a diver tender, be just a diver, get the card." So he helped me with all the paperwork.
Yeah.
So I got my actual ANSI cert above the one from school. It says diver tender. This one just says diver. And, anyway, so my sister helped me, reached out to the government and been like, "Yo, we got this loan money, and the school's now discredited." his certs should no longer be good.
Mhm.
And back and forth. Long story short, they were like, "Listen, you're annoying us. Here's your money back."
Right.
So
that's
way
what
to
I
go,
do.
Tammy.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah.
She's more like UNICEF. She's giving out degrees.
Yeah, I met her years ago. I came out here. I was working. Okay, I did quit commercial diving in 2011 for about 15 months, and I went and worked for the manufacturer Poseidon Diving Systems.
Yes.
And I traveled the
Love
country
their
with them.
regulators.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I do. That's all my regulators.
Yeah,
are Poseidons.
they're awesome, and I worked for them for the manufacturer. They had a warehouse in Houston, so I worked for them for about 15 months, and I was their rebreather tech and safety diver and whatever, blah blah blah. We were down here in Jersey for, was it Beneath the Sea? The dive shows here.
Yeah.
And Beneath the Sea, I was walking by, I saw the school
Yeah.
was there, and I talked to some of their guys, and Tammy overheard, and she came and was like, "Hey, you looking for a job?" You know, what I mean? I was like, "No, I'm okay. I'm good."
Did she wiggle at you? Hey, you want some of this?
And she didn't stop wiggling.
Yeah, she likes the men's.
I've heard.
Yeah, sure. Big fan.
I've heard.
I don't know how to bounce back from that conversation. So you did a lot of stuff, cut a lot of ground, right? And then you went back to diving.
Yeah.
And then you're still pushing the wetsuit agenda.
Still pushing it, man. Yeah, and I'll tell you, that's what helped me, and I wholeheartedly believe that's helped me grow the brand, because I'm still a diver. It wasn't just some guy who started a wetsuit company that, whatever, I was a plumber, but I like scuba diving, right? So
I like it.
right. So, but that, honestly, I believe that in social media, being able to see that I am a diver and I still am a working diver, but also, like, I went through my suits, I'd have them manufactured. Oh, this ripped, change it. Oh, this ripped, change it. So I
So
worked
you're
at
doing
it
your
for-
own R&D.
Yep. And I would get wetsuits and send them to people that I knew across the country, like some friends, like, "Hey, I got these suits." I would order 5 or 6 samples. Use these. Tell me what you think about it. Use these. Tell me. Like, I've changed the pockets. The pockets, like I said, were loose and small at first. Nobody liked them.
Now
I
they're
had to
tight
change
and
them.
large.
Now they're tight and large.
Also his nickname.
Correct.
Man's a lot of nicknames. Man's a lot of
I don't know.
nicknames.
I don't know anybody with that many nicknames.
He does.
And yeah, man, that was it. Just R&D. And like, there was one manufacturer I was using. The very first dive I went out, I dove on it, came up, the whole back seam ripped out. I was offshore. We don't do a whole lot of offshore work with the company, but every couple years we'll do a 30, 40-day P&A or something. And I came up out of that dive, my whole back is ripped out. And I was like, "Oh, not using that manufacturer."
You can tell me who
Well,
it
that
was.
would happen on the rear zips too. You're trying to put, and it always has the tension there.
Yeah,
And
right
you
there
always-
at the bottom,
Always
right?
your butt be hanging out as you're
That's
trying to
why
run,
you're the
running
sea
across.
monster. When us normal folk close our wetsuits, we don't have a problem. Mr. 10-Pound Hammer,
Yeah.
also his nickname.
I don't.
I don't even ask him to do it anymore. Because first of all, he's taking half your back out. You're like, zip me. He's like, what the fuck? You know, say he's do it yourself, real ginger like. So if he blows out his back doing his. That's also a
I
soundbite.
love it.
So when he blows out his back, putting his wetsuit on, don't take it personal with your manufacturing.
He's a monster.
He's a monster.
He can blow my back out.
Wow.
And then I'll get him a new wetsuit.
Is that considered prostitution? Because you're paying for it with a wetsuit?
It's
Still-
sales. It's sales.
Well, it's the wetsuit.
Right. It's a wetsuit.
It's the wetsuit.
The wetsuit's a donation.
Right, just a donation.
I
right.
got you. All right,
I'll
that's
just,
to get
I
around it.
leave it on the coffee table.
if you
and
film,
can-
if you
can
film
back
it, it's legal.
right.
Walking in the hooch, seeing on the pressure junkies on the
Right there.
table. Guess Trevor was here last night.
Wink at him, walk out.
You guys need therapy. Just want you guys know that.
That's pretty cool. That the whole Poseidon connection, because
Yeah.
I always Poseidon. Honestly, their regulators were like the best, and then they started making other stuff. Their dry suits, they stopped making them the uni suit.
Yeah, they were
That
great
was a
suits.
great suit, and you can't find another suit that's like the uni suit. I mean, the zip getting in and out of it looked
It was
ridiculous.
weird. It was weird. It was a weird.
Well, so I'm even older. So mine went around.
Are you?
Underneath? Yeah, but mine
Are you
mine
older?
was underneath the butt and then up.
Oh,
So,
really? Nah, I've
yeah,
never seen
it
that
started
one.
in the back and went underneath across your crotch.
That
and then
sounds
up.
real slutty.
You had to climb in it from the back, but again, you had a front zipper. You could.
You're
take,
making
you
these
could-
jokes too easy.
I know. You could take a leak. You know.
Yeah,
you had-
oh, yeah.
Well,
so
is
you
this a
had-
dry?
you had-
Is this a dry suit?
Yeah.
You had a dry suit.
Okay,
You had to climb out of the back of the
because
old
who's not
unisuit.
pissing in their wetsuit?
Don
No.
likes to piss in the dry suit as well.
Yeah.
Yes, especially when they're not mine.
Well,
Yeah.
it
You're the
warms up
company
if
wetsuit.
your toes are cold. It's
Yeah,
a,
it's very nice.
Industry trick.
I don't care if you dove a dry suit enough, you've peed in it.
Yeah.
I don't care what people say.
I like when I meet new people and they're like, "How'd you get into that industry?" I'm like, "Well, I googled a job I can piss myself all day."
Right.
And astronauts, they don't pay that much.
No.
It's all in the glory.
Divers and then
Very
R. Kelly's
selective.
assistant.
Very
Right.
selective, those astronauts.
R. Kelly assistant. That's fucked up. Man's a criminal.
A hell of a singer, though.
A hell of a salesman too. So, why don't you bring? Do you guys offer dry suits?
Not yet. No.
Not yet.
No, I've been.
All right.
I have some. It's a funding thing, right? So I have the manufacturers to do it, and I have them drawn up. I've had a few designs drawn up, and it's just a funding thing. You know, as I'm getting busier and more stuff's going out, more money's coming in. Like my next product I plan on bringing out hopefully this year is going to be a 2-piece 7 mil. I know you're not into it, but you can see there's a pretty definitive line in my, as you can see when you're selling stuff, Northern California and Northern Virginia, Baltimore up, I stopped selling wetsuits. Now I do sell, if I do, it's 7 mils, and it's a few of them, and like I'm hitting Canada, Michigan.
I never understood the 2-piece. And the farmer John.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I never understood it. Now for spearfishing, because I spearfish. So for spearfishing,
You get it, Bob. You like the water.
But that's all. That's it is but it's the beaver tail.
The beaver tail,
the
right?
old
Yeah.
style. With a pullover top, not a zip top, so you don't have the cold water from.
We were
the
talking about that yesterday. I can't do 2-piece.
yeah.
You're always in the mud. What we do majority of the time in New York Harbor,
chafing
in the
from
mud,
the mud and
Right.
everything else.
and that shit gets in there.
Yeah.
It just
And
it
then
finds a way.
It's thick too, and unless you're using a good quality neoprene,
yeah.
you're like the Michelin Man.
Yeah.
His
Arms
nickname.
are springing back.
That's offensive because it's fat. That's fucked up.
Sorry, that was
That's
wrong.
fucked up.
I'm sorry.
The man's trying.
You never know where the line is.
Yeah, that's
You never
fucked
know
up.
where
I
the
just
line
crossed it.
is.
I'll just go home now.
That's
I'm
messed
sorry.
up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't
Bad
mean-
enough you
line's
can't
always
offer him a
moving.
wetsuit. Now you're calling him fat.
Oh fuck me.
Wow.
The line's always moving.
I know, right? It's fucked up.
He did like me just
He
about
did.
13 seconds ago.
All of my jokes are about power, and you're over here like fat fuck.
I'm sorry.
Reminds me, I do need new tires.
He's probably not kidding.
I just got new Michelins on my truck.
You want Michelin?
Yeah.
Too rich for my blood. I
I
like
got the Cooper Cobras.
Ooh, wow.
Cooper Cobras.
the Cobras. So you're doing all these crazy things, and you're talking about getting into more financing to upgrade your line. So you're gonna do dry suits, maybe a hot water suit,
Yeah,
maybe a
eventually.
hat bag. I know
Hot
that was
water
up in the air.
suit.
I have a
our
hat bag
style.
design. A buddy of mine designed a really cool hat bag years ago, and he didn't do anything with it. He's a commercial diver, and then I got it from him and
One in the
changed
card
it.
game.
And I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's a great design, but here in the future that'll be out too. I already had a couple samples made, so using them right now to see what's wrong. 'Cause
I
they're going to
will.
rip.
I'll sample the fuck out of it
Yeah.
for you, pal.
They're,
Watch how well I sample it. Like Cortez, hey my hat.
And yeah, I'll send you some. It's but it was one of those things. Like I got it, and I was just about to jump on ordering a bunch of them, but then I was like, you know what? This thing holds a $10,000 hat. I'm gonna wear it for
Wear it a
a
little
year
bit, yeah.
and see where it rips, and because it's gonna rip. There's a prototypes always. It's never
I mean, with that kind of attitude, it's going to.
right.
It's gonna fail.
It's gonna. Well, I want it to fail because I want to know where it's gonna fail
with your hat in it.
with my hat in it. Right. If when it fails, I can fix it.
Maybe you walk around with a couple bags of flour in it.
Yeah.
Test it out.
Test it out. Yeah, it's good. You get your hat, you throw it in the bed
You
of a
know,
truck.
I know everybody's always asked you a ton of stuff. Make this, make that, make
Right.
this. But like our style of hot water suit, where we put the spider in, and take the spider out. That
Do the hokey pokey.
Yeah, but we all have a homemade spider.
Right.
We put the spider in; it's all homemade. And you got tape. You got finger tape for like rings to hold you.
I use
everything in
hair
place.
ties.
Hair
I
ties.
steal my wife's hair
I
everybody's
was
ties.
got-
wondering what you were using in that picture. I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, so a lot
Was
of
I
times people
dressed
just
or
take
not
electrical
dressed?
tape and they'll just loop electrical tape around, and then that holds it in. But what's nice about it is you can take it out. So summer comes,
Right.
you're still wearing the same suit. You just yank the spider out.
Well, there was I do have one I started drawing up, and it was going to be where you have like little channels inside your suit, like little. I was just gonna say not Velcro because that'll be rough on your skin, but little pieces
Yeah,
of
to hold it-
neoprene
hold it.
so you can slide
Slide
it
it
through
through,
there,
yeah.
and then maybe at the very ends have that Velcro like you would under your zipper,
Yeah.
and have that on the tops.
No
and bottoms.
Velcro.
Yeah.
Huh? Well,
I-
something it has
I
to.
can't stress no
well,
Velcro
no,
enough.
Yeah, because it just holds toilet paper.
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't want
it does. And and it's rough, right? So it's
Yeah.
rough on your skin. It's gonna cut you and stuff. But you know what I mean. Something to hold it
if
in
it
place.
cuts me, I know who to call.
Right.
I'm like, Trevor, what the fuck is this?
Oh, why'd you do it? I said not to.
So I've heard some of Don and some of Sea Monster's stories. What's the craziest thing that happened to you underwater in your career?
Okay. Not crazy. Yeah, it could have been dangerous. It was. probably about a while ago. I'm not gonna say when, but it's we were burning out a 48-inch pile. No, a 72-inch pile. We just drove brand new 48s. Well, we were burning out a bunch of them. They drove the new piles, and we were burning out the old piles, and they were all burning full concrete. We're out there for a month. Well, we get on the job today, and we have a construction crew, dive crew. We have a bunch of stuff going on, and we always had the pile rigged up. Always have the pile rigged up at the crane. Well, this day they asked. They said, "Hey, we need to do something real quick. Do you mind if we use the crane and you don't dive?" I was like, "Oh, don't worry. I'll get in the water." They're all full concrete, and they haven't moved. They haven't moved in a month. Go down there. A guy goes in front of me, burns. He's like, "Hey." He just couldn't get it, so I go in there, finish burning. I'm laying down. You had to do a ring, right? So we had to do a ring, and cut out a window so you can go in there and chip this concrete out. And I'm laying down. I'm like, man, this window's not coming out. And I had a little pry bar with me. I'm laying down on the ground. I pop this window out. And all of a sudden I hear, "Trevor, move. The pile's falling." And I fucking stood up. And this, no lie, as I stood up, that pile came over like a tree. I couldn't see it. We're in dark water. Came over, hit me in the left side of my helmet. Didn't hurt me, just like grazed me. Yeah. And I'm lucky it grazed my side. And I scooted off to the left, and I ended up hitting one of those 84s that we drove. And I'm just standing there, and I'm like, all right, it's cool. And then my foreman was like,
"We're good here.
We're good." And he's like, "Trevor, you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." I'm like, "Come up on me." He's like, "What?" I'm like,
that's the second thing.
Right,
on my hose.
Right, come up on me. Well, then
did it land on your hose?
Right, that's what I was worried about. Yeah. And then they're like, "Come up on me." "All right, you're fouled." Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh." And I'm like, they're like, "You're fouled. We can't come up on you." And I'm like, "All right." And you know what you're thinking? Your
hose is under it.
Your hose is under it. So I start following it back. It knocked off a 300-pound anode that we welded on one of those 84s. So I was able to pick up that anode and move it, and I was able to get out of the water. Ooh. But that was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. Now, I've been like differential pressure stuck to a screen and nothing real dangerous, but that was the
it just stuck to a screen.
Right. And no, and it was like, and then shortly after that, right before that, I got stuck to a screen, differential pressure, and then that pile happened, and no shit, I want to say 3 weeks later, Poseidon called and said, "Hey, man, you want to come work for me?" I said, "Yep."
Yeah. I could use a vacation.
All right, God, I'll take the hint.
That you've been supplying the Bone Hunt with wetsuits this entire time, which I can't thank you enough for that. Has anyone else bought any wetsuits to do Bone Hunt you know of?
I've gotten emails and said a couple people have thanked me, like, "Hey, thank you. I've seen your wetsuits," or people that I kind of knew, like through the diving, and they wrote me and been like, "Dude, I seen your wetsuits on YouTube, and the guys from Sewer Divers are wearing it." It's neat, you know.
I want them to buy it so I have competition.
Right.
I want to dive against somebody.
Right.
You were saying you're a rebreather tech. I want a rebreather, but I don't want to pay for it. You know anybody?
No, not anymore. No, it was. And again, I haven't touched a rebreather since I left Poseidon in 2012. And but it was cool, man. Especially work with Poseidon. I will say that was one thing that I just learned, because you're in a different field, right? You're doing something completely different.
Yeah.
And I got to travel the whole country. Not the whole country. We did a whole West Coast tour. We pulled a 48-foot trailer with us. We had our gear, so we were going to different dive stops, showing people the new Poseidon rebreather. I was working on them. I was their safety diver.
How much are those?
Ooh, at the time, you're probably looking at.
But
at the time, it was 10
grand?
10 grand,
yeah. But I thought there was classes attached to it, too.
Yeah,
so it was 10 grand and then
classes.
Then classes.
Right.
Another like 6 or 7 grand in classes.
And then you got to get your soft node line. Then you got to always get your oxygen, you know. So, but it's.
I want a rebreather.
They're cool. They're pretty. It's a pretty neat.
I only want it for my pool.
Right.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to a cave or bullshit. Fuck that. It's dumb. No, let's go to my pool.
Yeah. And,
just so I can say.
I remember seeing those at the one of the ones out in maybe Houston or Louisiana, one of the trade shows, either one of those two. And I'm like, man, if their regulators were that good, imagine, you know.
It was an amazing, and that's actually the mouthpiece was from the Jetstream.
The Jetstream.
Yeah. And the Xtreme and Jetstream is pretty much the same. It's just that tube on it, right? So they used the Jetstream because it needed to be a little bit longer because of the mouthpiece on the rebreather. The purge button was up here, so they had to use the one for the Jetstream.
Now, are you also a Kirby Morgan hat technician?
I am.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
You know, on the hats, you have those two little holes right here?
Uh-huh.
What are they for?
Nothing. It's for the holding the mold.
That's it?
That's it.
That's
They should
anti-crime.
come up with something cool.
Yeah, I was told. I had a buddy of mine who was like, "No, they're for a rebreather setup, so you can put a rebreather on a hat." I'm like, "No,
No way.
stop that."
It's too small.
Yeah,
It's
it's
for
just too
vampires.
small. Then it goes in, and you got two valves
Yeah.
blocking it. So
Yeah, it's not gonna
yeah,
happen.
no, it's no. I've come up in the past. I've had guys be like, "Oh, that's so you can drink underwater. You could use Camelback." How?
Yeah, how
You know,
get the
just
camel
people
back
come
on?
up with stuff. No, and I've asked. I've been to dive lab multiple times, and working in a dive shop in Texas. That was a Kirby Morgan shop, and yeah, no, just for the mold.
That's it.
That was it.
That's so
No-
anticlimactic.
nothing fun. All the years.
That's
I
some
thought about
bullshit.
it.
That's for vampires, you know.
Yeah, it's for their fangs to come out of.
All right, follow-up question from before. What's the coolest thing you found underwater?
The coolest thing I've.
Our friendship.
Yeah. Oh.
I'll answer
No,
it
I
for
guess
you.
it would be for me. It would be. I would say like some marine life. I got to do some diving up in Washington State and got to see a great northern octopus. That was
Nice.
that was pretty cool.
I've
All
never
the
seen
A
crabs.
large one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was a large one. It was underneath a little sunken John boat. A guy going into water said, "Oh, if you go over here, go west and follow this.
Way
You'll see
yonder.
the boat. Yeah, way yonder over there. And if you look, and a good sign was all the old shells of crabs and everything outside.
laying out there.
And then you go and you look underneath, and
They're aliens.
Come out,
freaking
check
thing
you
was-
out?
It started coming out, and I
Check
was
you
like,
out?
and it was so big. I was like, all right,
I've seen enough here.
yeah. All
All
the
right.
cool stuff I've seen has been scuba dives. You know, which,
Again, 1 degree above LARPing.
You ever find any treasure, anything, any cool
No,
stuff like
No
that?
nothing.
bones, no nothing.
nothing. I found some cool rings and a couple failed marriages, and I found some.
Yeah, been there.
I hear you.
A tequila
Been there.
habit. I found that.
I think the
but-
only one here who was ever happily married was him.
Well, I'm happily married now.
Oh no, yeah, the second time around, yeah. So am I. But I'm talking the first one.
Oh, man,
He
it's,
ran it. He ran all these ran a marathon with his first marriage. God bless him.
Still there.
Crazy.
That's,
Yeah.
that's an incident.
Still there.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Still there.
It's
No,
still,
that's
it's
still going.
It's still
Yeah.
going.
No, it's no, the diving field for me, man, has been, you hear stuff off and on. People don't like it. It's not this, but it has been absolutely a wonderful, wonderful thing for me.
I've
It is hard on relationships.
It
Very
is
hard.
hard.
It's,
Yeah.
it's tough on relationships.
My son, who's in the back there, I mean, me and his mother, we're not together. We're great friends, but I do right now have a wonderful girlfriend from Scotland. I met her on Tinder, swiped right, just saying.
All right.
swiped right. And
When is she getting her ring? What's going on here? I'll ask the hard-hitting questions. I'll ask the ones.
He's all of a sudden he's sweating from Texas.
Yeah.
He started sweating.
you keep that up, I'm gonna end this podcast.
Well, gotta go.
Best I could do is a wetsuit for her. Best I could do.
I gave her these sweet welding gloves.
Right. Yeah. No, but it is hard. Like, I have a great girl now, and it's just, I've been gone for 5 months. I think I've been home in the past 5 months since February, like 15 days. You
Wow.
know, and she holds the fort down, man. She's awesome. She handles Pressure Junkiez orders when I'm
It's
not
funny
home.
because like those relationships, they if they're working out while the diver's away all the time, and then you come home
Yeah.
and you're home all the time. Like if you go from offshore to inland,
Yeah.
sometimes that they don't.
They're
work.
like, when you leaving?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Why am
Yeah,
I still
when you're
looking at you?
leaving, You know, when I started, me and my wife were together when I started diving. So she came into the relationship. I was a diver, so
Yeah.
she was like, "This is great because whenever you're home, we're on vacation."
Right.
You know, whenever I came home, it's like, well, let's go stay in this hotel. Let's go stay in that hotel. Let's go, because it didn't matter to me.
The,
You know what I mean?
the
Everything
spice was always there.
Well, everything was in a bag already. I could just
Yeah.
pick up the same
Right.
pick up the same
You just
bag
came
and
home
go
with a
somewhere.
pocket full of money
Yeah.
too, right?
Was it a Pressure Junkiez bag?
No.
Do you offer gear bags?
I do.
Nice.
I do.
It was
I've
it was
never
his
got one.
it was his competition. Is the
Never
bag
got
man bag.
You'll get a bag.
But
Well,
yeah,
Don't
so-
let him bully you.
But everything
Don't let him bully you.
it was everything, and then we had to go. We had kids, and it was I was on the flight deck just before cell phones were like any good, and I had a sat phone.
How long ago was that, buddy?
It was a long time ago. And I get
Before
I get a
time.
phone call from my daughter's teacher telling me how upset my daughter is, and how it's not right that I'm not home. And I'm like, who's this lady? Does she have any idea? If I wanted to get home now, it's 72 hours at best. If I caught a helicopter that's not coming,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That got delayed.
yeah, and I got delayed. That's not coming, and they're not really happy to help you when you quit.
Yeah.
I need to leave. That's your problem.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, how bad?
Right.
I had that working for you. The school called me out to leave because
Yeah.
Olivia pushed an easel into a teacher, and the principal. I was in his office. Principal calls me screaming at me, screaming. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Your daughter used a piece of furniture as a weapon. And I looked at him, I was like, that sounds like a janitor issue. Why wasn't the furniture secured to the floor?
Yeah.
And then I start asking questions. She starts calming down. I'm like, by the way, I'm not one of your students. Don't yell at me.
Yeah.
I look at Bobby. I'm like, I gotta leave. He goes, what? Concrete's on the way. I'm like, concrete's always on the way.
Right.
Concrete is always on the
But
way.
it's difficult. They want you to stop what you're doing, and especially as a diver, you can't just stop.
You just can't stop. No.
Can't stop, won't stop.
No. Yeah, it can be hard. Like you said, we all know the people in the field. It's not. And then there's the good times when you're home all the time. You got a local job, and then it's great. And then you got to go, and you only can say no so many times. You know what I mean?
The phone calls, like you'll get a phone call on like Friday that you got to be someplace on Monday, which means you got to get
Ready on Saturday.
You got to get ready on Saturday to the airport on Sunday to be there on Monday, or you know what I
Right.
mean? It's 15-hour ride, and then you got to go downstairs and say, hey, I got the job. When were you going to tell me? I just found out.
That was like Alaska.
When were you going to tell me?
Yeah,
I
when
get
you
that
gonna-
all the time.
Yeah, when are you going
Right.
to tell me? I just found out.
When we went to Alaska,
They had to
it was
know
a
before this. I said
2-hour
I don't-
call.
I don't,
Yeah.
yeah, 2-hour call. Yeah.
Right.
So it is definitely a special kind of field to be in, where your significant other allows you to leave for weeks at a time. But like Sea Monster was saying, sometimes that strengthens relationship when you're not there for the everyday bullshit. So when you come home, it's like vacation.
Right.
Well, it depends. It depends on who your significant other is. If
Well,
they could
clearly it's
deal-
working for you.
Well, if they could deal with, the day to day. For a while I was living offshore, my sister-in-law moved in, so my wife had my sister-in-law there. It was her sisters there hanging out.
Yeah, it's like a party.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was a party. They still had to deal with dogs and kids, and
You got some pretty cool kids though. The dog's a little squirrely, but the kids are cool.
at that time I had 2 Rottweilers, so
Oh,
it was
Jesus.
two big Rottweilers
Yeah.
running around, 2 babies. running
Right.
around.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
lot right
Hey,
there.
figure this out. I'm out.
I'm out.
Papa's going to make
So,
some
we're
money.
saying, so yeah, we went into Alaska and they called. It was I want memory serves. It was like a Thursday night, 2 weeks before Christmas, and Bobby called me first. He's like, "Hey, you want to go to Alaska?" I'm like, "When?" He's like, "Now." I'm like tonight. He goes, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I turn and I just start throwing shit in a gearbox, right? And then John called the owner for the guy who's contracted us out. He's like, "Hi, how are you? Looking to get you out to Alaska." I'm like, "Fun fact about me, you might not know. I only fly first class."
But the other side of it was he was only flying us first class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He didn't. No one told me that. So
Yeah.
I felt like I got him one over. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I got first class. I demanded. I got it. So I get there. We all meet up in this airport where I think a birthday party was happening at the same time.
In the airport.
Yeah. So the
In the
TSA.
airport.
They
Yeah.
rent out
Alright.
the airport for the birthday
We're
parties.
in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
right? So we get there, and everyone's landing, and Freddie McManus picks me up from the airport, and he's sitting there. He's like, "Yeah, it was a nice flight, huh? First class." I'm like, "You flew your first class?" He goes, "Yeah, he only flies first class." I'm like, I'm walking out like with smoke bombs and music. I'm like, that's right, first class, popping collars. No,
But-
everyone got it.
It was first class from here to California and then California to Washington.
I had
And then
first
as soon
class
as you
to
get in
Juneau.
Washington,
Yeah.
you're getting this like tiny little plane
Huddled
of people
up
bringing in
chickens.
Yeah,
chickens and,
Lady
and
chicken.
McDonald's and
The lady next to me had a chicken
a McDonald's.
and a 20-piece.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her. I'm like, that's fucked up. That's
Well,
just fucked up.
Well, they go out of town and you need anything, pick up McDonald's because they
Yeah.
don't have
Oh,
Get me a
that's
20-piece.
big thing
Yeah.
for them, to
Yeah.
get the McDonald's back there.
The McDonald's. See, there's the age.
The
The
McDonald's.
Facebook. God forbid you get the cancer.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
Trevor, where's the furthest you've ever gone for a job?
Dominican Republic.
That's not that far.
No, not. But for me, that was far. I got all over the country. Then the only place out of the country I've been is the DR.
Favorite state to work in? Ooh. Was a good one.
I like 'em
Not
all.
Maryland.
No,
Check.
honestly, I like them all because I always figure out something to do.
How about this?
Cop out answer.
Best food at a job you've ever been to?
John, you're making this easy on them asking the food
Oh.
questions.
Man, best food. I'm gonna throw because I like that style of food. Louisiana.
All right.
Well,
Yeah,
Cajun.
Yeah.
All right.
No, Georgia was a good job.
The
Georgia
peaches?
was pretty awesome. We got to do a really cool pipeline job up there, 72-inch pipeline.
I want your favorite state.
My favorite.
I'm
state-
not like settling for the cop
Texas.
out. I like them all. No.
Texas.
See, thank you.
Texas.
Texas.
I
So
love
basically,
Texas.
California can go fuck itself.
Right. California's beautiful. but
Yeah,
fuck
I
it.
knew you could backpedal.
No, yeah.
Look, Kelly.
No, I like Cali. I think it's a beautiful
But
state.
Texas, though.
But Texas, there's nothing, in my opinion,
How's the barbecue?
fucking awesome.
That he got excited about. Saw that.
You can pull over on the side of the road and like go to this gas station and it's banging barbecue.
No, it's just awesome. But they'll fry anything. You can fry gravel and put some Tony Chachere's on it down there. And they're like, this is fucking delicious.
Delicious gravel.
This is awesome.
What is this, pea stone? What is this?
Good.
GP, what is this?
I just chipped a tooth, but I don't care.
No, Texas is my favorite state, man. By far. I love the people. I've been down there now for 16 years, and the economy is great. The people are great. The work is great. I've never had a lack of work being down there. I don't got to break ice to work. You know what I mean?
That. That's fun.
That's a big plus.
That's.
I start getting nervous in October.
Yeah.
Like, damn, winter's coming.
Remember the rigs were freezing? You're pouring vodka in?
Yeah.
I come in one day, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? He's pouring vodka into the volume tank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hey, just out of curiosity, what are you doing? I'm like, you want some orange juice for that? He goes, no, it's in case it won't freeze. If you get a shot of it, it's only vodka.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm purging. Come on, where is it? Where's my fix, Bobby? I think we need more in the volume tank. I think it's freezing.
Yeah, Texas definitely by far is my favorite, man. It's been really, really good for me, and that's where I had that boy back there. That's where I had my son. So it's been
in case you guys are wondering what he's pointing to, his son's in the back room.
I'm sorry, my son's back there.
We're hiding him from the public because you're a bunch of creeps on the internet.
Yeah.
Respect. Not creeps on the internet, respecting and hiding them from the creeps. You understand what I'm saying?
You know what I mean.
Yeah, fuck those creeps.
Nah, man, it's been good.
Also, if you're listening to this, just subscribe. Come on. Cut the shit.
Right.
I mean, we're doing pretty good on the subscriptions. Pretty happy with the organic growth.
Yeah, I've been following it, man. It's pretty cool.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Where it started from January until today.
It's awesome.
How'd you feel when the Diesel Brothers wore your stuff? Did you like it?
That was an amazing feeling.
First of all, those guys were great to just be around.
Yeah.
They're really, really cool. Diesel Dave, I can't say enough good things about the man.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy D was had a lot going on that day, so he was on his phone a lot, answering emails.
But when he was conversing
running a
with
business,
you, great guy.
Great guy.
He was in there.
I like Hans too.
So many people that I know across the country obviously follow this, but you don't know, and they're just I get a text message. Did you know? And it's like
I know.
for a month it was just my stuff popping up with me on there, and it's just the feeling is just y'all know, when you start something and you see it out there, it's just neat. Or I'll see a picture of somebody posting they're wearing my gloves, or
I know
my
those.
kid, my kid loves your gloves. He riding his
Yeah, he
motorcycle.
wouldn't shut the hell about it.
He won't stop
He
wearing them.
came
Rides
and
his
worked with
motorcycle,
us.
works with it.
Really?
They had gloves in the boat. He's like, from the last filming we did. And he looks at it and goes, whose gloves are those? I'm like, they're yours. Here you go.
Here you go.
And I didn't realize I gave him 2 lefts.
Oh,
Right? So I look over, I'm like 10 minutes later, he has the glove on backwards. I'm like, what are you doing, asshole? He goes, you gave me 2 lefts.
at least he didn't say something. He
No,
just
he
did
didn't.
it right. Yeah.
So I went and found him the right ones.
Right.
Yeah. So the box, speaking of, we got a huge box of Pressure Junkies of swag that we're going to give out to our listeners. We're going to do a raffle. So those who have made it this far on the podcast listening, we're going to do a raffle for T-shirts, hats, gloves, and we have a shit ton of stickers. So we're going to come up with a raffle, and we're going to reach out to everyone and figure out how we're going to give them away. Trevor was very gracious enough to bring us a box of
man.
swag.
It's awesome.
I wanted to keep it for myself,
Yeah.
but I thought, what about the children's?
Right. The children's need it. The children's need it.
They need
people
it.
that are cold.
I need gloves.
But it's got to be cool seeing your stuff out there, because there's always that point where you're like, am I wasting my time?
Right.
Is this going to happen? Is this going to kick
Yeah.
off? And then,
It's
see some guys who like, this is we're not playing commercial divers.
right.
You know what I mean? We're not, this isn't an act.
Yeah. And
And then we're digging it and liking it and using it. So it's got to be cool.
no, yeah, it's awesome. And in the beginning there was
That moment.
in that moment, or a stitching failed in something,
Yeah.
and then I had to redesign, and then I had a couple.
I did call you about that.
Yeah, I've had a couple suits with little things happen here and some stuff there, and you're like, "Am I doing this right?" Then you got to go back and get with your manufacturer, and hey,
See, I wouldn't. That wouldn't even bother me, because like that's pieces and parts. You got to put all that together. You're going to have to put that together. I would just there would be that moment, and like, it's a lot of work. Is this going anywhere?
Yeah.
We had that. We had people. Is it worth it? Is it worth
Is
doing
it worth
this?
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had that moment.
I've actually had that talk with you. You know,
Yeah,
you're
you
taking
don't
the
wanna do it.
bathtub out there all the time, and I'm like,
It's a lot of work.
Don, the fuel alone was
killing us, killing us. And then we went to I went to
wouldn't wanna
Home
do the fuel.
Depot to
I wouldn't
buy
wanna do the
O-rings.
fuel.
Went to Home Depot to buy O-rings, and I
brass fittings. Remember
this
the
is my-
$80 in brass
Yeah,
fittings?
this is my therapist.
Yeah.
I don't do real conventional therapy. I call it Sea Monster, and I just vent to him, and he usually tells me, just rub some dirt on it. So I was like, this is bullshit. I'm all this money, this time out here looking for these fucking bones, getting all crazy about it. And I get off the phone with him. I walk into Home Depot, and I'm going to the brass. I'm like, this is fucking expensive, and I hear "Dirty Water Don" from the other end of the aisle, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's totally worth it. That was cool.
That was cool. I'm getting these brass pieces.
Yeah, whatever. You want to buy some of these?
Yeah.
So you get to that moment where you get the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm happy enough to where you get every now and then you get that little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You get that little bit worth the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, this is worth it for us. Like we were gonna quit the one day. We almost fucking flipped the boat over. It was fucking horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I did one more dive and we pulled that statue out. And that is her name escapes me, it's Brazilian, but it's the mother of all sirens and the mother of waves. And we found that statue.
Yamanyana?
I don't know.
Something like that.
In the bottom of the
Yamanyana.
East River.
Nice.
By Hell's Gate. And you're like, why is this here?
Why is this here? A sign.
It's nice. So we kept going. But you have those moments where it's like, is it worth it?
Yeah, and you helped me out a huge thing with that moment with seeing my stuff on there with
Made you
you
excited?
guys.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Made you
awesome.
happy?
And if we all work together, we can all. I always say that with like guys at Baytech and stuff, and they've helped me out tremendously. You know, they're
Carl's
just
good people.
yeah.
Well, he wouldn't give me an air rack, so there's that.
But
I love his response.
Well, for
they're
me-
11 grand. I'm like, what does that mean?
And but for me, they've been great, you know. And then working with guys like you, and then seeing my stuff on TV, and what you just said, I was down in Corpus. There was another little dive crew working on, what was it? A traveling water screen where we're getting on and off our barges.
Mhm.
And I went out because we're going to back our tugboat up, and we have 4 barges and 2 boats, and you know the little land thing. And I went and said, "Hey guys, we're going to move out here shortly," and I was like, "Hey, but here's some stickers," and I just handed some stickers to the crew, and the guy was like, "Trevor from Pressure Junkies," and I was like, "Yeah, you know, it was neat, you
Yeah,
know,
it's
and
cool.
I have 2 of your wetsuits, and they're awesome, you know."
Can you autograph my wetsuit?
But yeah,
I'm going to start diving in autographed wetsuit.
yeah, let's do it.
We're
And,
going to try to get a lot of celebrities in these wetsuits.
let's do it.
We have a couple we're lining up to do more theatrical dives.
Oh, cool.
Can't see who they are yet because we have to agree to it first.
Right.
But we have big plans for the rest of the
I gotta
summer.
sneak in
Which
their
really
house.
sucks for me.
That's right.
I need you to come teach these assholes how to dive.
No, right. Yeah.
Yeah, run this dive.
He's like, what the fuck? You got it. You're fine.
Yeah. I'm at my kid's birthday
Bobby,
party. You gotta leave
celebrities.
now.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's I scuba dove. I'm a scuba diver. When was the last time you've been in the water? Oh, it's 7 years ago in the Bahamas. This ain't the Bahamas.
Yeah, get it.
We're
all the
running
time.
6
Welcome
knots.
to New York.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll be fine. Bobby, talk to him.
Don't
Tell me
let go
we're
of the
fine.
line.
How much weight is that? Well, that weighs as much as you. So just put it on and
You'll be fine. I'll tell you what, the Barstool guys, no hesitation. He's like, all right, I threw this lead weight on. They're like, okay.
Really just
No hesitation.
none.
No questions.
Right.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. I'm
Don't
good.
stop breathing. Don't let go of the line.
Don't take your helmet off. It's easier to revive you with the helmet on.
Right.
And they're like, okay.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Got it. Leave helmet on.
So you'll keep me alive. We'll make sure you.
We'll bring you back.
Yeah.
We'll bring you back.
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
If you don't let go of the line.
If you don't
If
let
you
go
don't
of the
let
line.
go of
Right.
He really stressed the don't let go of the line.
Line, yeah.
Dude, the current where we were working at that time, where we were looking for the bones, was brutal. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever dove in any current that
Don't worry, you will.
strong.
You'll be back up here.
We'll do that. We'll do
but
it.
you know, we'll if we're working there where we were diving looking for the bones, we'll actually sit until the tide slacks.
Right. and
You
then-
know what I mean?
yeah.
We put some underwater turbines in there, and we would sit until the tide slacked, and then we'd go in and work for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever the tide would allow, and then we'd rush back out. You know, but we're diving the whole time. We're diving in that current. I'm like, oh man, this is horrible.
Yeah.
Bob, what do you think about this? You're going to need more weight. I'm like, bullshit.
Horrible.
3 minutes later, I need more weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't enough. That was a lot. Doing
They
that
knew
all
what they were
winter.
doing when they dumped that shit over there.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
They're like, no one's ever gonna find it.
Good luck, assholes.
Nah,
We're
that's
finding
cool. You found some cool stuff, man.
Yeah, we're still going. We're still. It's now it's a little more difficult in the summer months
Yeah.
because a lot of our stuff is borrowed, like our boats.
Mhm.
Thank you, Randy King, Randy King's Boat Services, and
Such a
Madeline
gentleman.
Marine.
Such a gentleman.
Such a coxman. So Randy lets us use his boats, right? And a lot of times it's a barter system. Problem is, in the summer months, he doesn't have boats available
Too
Okay.
busy.
because they're being
Right.
people are paying him.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh.
someone actually gave
Yeah.
him money for the boat.
Right.
Meanwhile, I'm like, can I borrow a boat, sir? And I'm gonna need some fuel.
Excuse me.
Yeah. May I have some more, please?
Yeah.
We blew out a 200 Merc motor.
Whoa. that was his fault, and he admitted to it.
So
The prop was too big.
easy with the water. Jesus,
Sorry.
They call you the monster for a reason. The monster. So we're sitting there. We blow the motor. So it's our possession.
Right.
How it blew, not our fault, but it did blow in our possession.
Right.
So now we have to make that phone call that we just blew up a fucking $8,000
Right
motor.
after we waffled the prop on his.
No, we didn't do fuck off. You and Nick waffled the prop. I wasn't there.
But this
Together.
is like his
collective.
his pride and joy. Beautiful.
Right.
Take the family out. It's still a workboat.
Yeah,
but it's a nice workboat.
It's a beautiful.
It's a
workboat.
nice workboat.
So we're coming back and we waffle the prop, and
he's calling me, telling me it's my fault. I wasn't on the vessel. I'm like, I didn't tell you to fucking speed through the Hudson, hit a log. That's nothing to do with me. No, I was in your possession. I'm like, I wasn't even in the state.
so he's watching us on the, because they could track all the boats.
Yeah.
So he's watching us on the Coast Guard tracker, and he's like, "Why are these guys not coming home? What are they doing?" And he's like, "Damn it, they broke my boat."
So the next day,
It all clicked, right?
It all
Like,
clicked.
the next day we break
Why are
the
we going
boat.
so slow?
So I call him and I'm like, so
Mind you, this was Cortez with an S and I. We're coming down the Hudson, and we just go under the Mario Cuomo Bridge, the old Tappan Zee Bridge.
the Mario
Cuomo Bridge. And
Tappan Zee.
fucking
Let's get it
Tappan
straight.
Zee.
as soon
Tappan
as
Zee.
we get under it, it just like swells.
No, that was the new motor. So we broke the boat. We had a call and say I broke the boat. Right now we don't have a pot to piss in.
Yeah.
Right. So now we have to get the boat
Or
in
the
Jersey.
window to throw it out.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We don't even have anything. No hands.
Right.
We have stumps.
Right.
So we call him. I'm like, hey, listen, the boat broke. He's like, what happened? I'm like, the motor sounds like cluck, 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 cluck. And he goes, that doesn't sound good. I'm like, no, it doesn't. He goes, but you do a good impression. So it was lighthearted. I'm like, okay.
Oh, we were going down. We were almost on site.
Yeah, we
and we
broke.
just like it broke right in the middle of the Hudson.
So we were close to
we're
Warren George.
Yeah,
we're
so
like, oh,
we got
shit.
we got the boat to one of his friend's slips. So then he got the boat out of the water on a trailer, and I just had a trailer back to his yard. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, fuck. I get there, and he's a brand new motor sitting on a tripod. He goes, all right, this motor's going to go in. I'll be back out there in a couple hours. I'm like,
And then he goes, "Oh, by the way, it was my fault. I put the prop out was too big."
yeah.
And
So we're like, woo!
"Oh."
So then you put the new motors on, get the motor, we go. Now, again, these are borrowed free boats.
So that at this point, it's me and Cortez. He's gonna drive the truck back down and meet us there. So we leave. We're going down. We just
under
go
the
under
Tappan
the bridge.
Zee Bridge.
Just under it, and the swells start picking up, and the motor dies. All power. It's on still, but all power stops. I'm like, what the hell? Water starts coming over the side. I'm like, Cortez, we're swimming. Like, just then, kicks back on for a second, and I kind of just like aim it to the shore. So somehow the current, everything pushes us.
They
in
got us. They got to a dock.
with like 2 feet of water in the boat.
It was. I pull up and it's all hell breaking loose.
I'm screaming at him. I'm
like,
like,
I didn't fucking
I
put
thought
the
this
motor
was
in."
a brand new motor. It is.
They didn't put the wire from the battery to the stator, so it didn't charge the battery. So it got them. They had enough juice in the battery to get past the tap, and that was it.
Oh man.
So they died in the water in the middle of the Hudson.
This is all going to do free stuff.
Yeah, no one's getting paid.
No one's getting paid. Like, oh,
So
man.
then
So it just stung a little bit
More.
more. Yeah.
So it's like these are some of the trials and tribulations that we've gone under. People are like, oh, you found
and-
something.
And again, we were
lost
gonna-
more.
that
Yeah.
day. I'm like, I'm about to quit that day. I'm like, fuck this. This is bullshit. Like, we're gonna die out here for what? For a little bit of notoriety online.
Yeah.
And as soon as we get on this little like pier that was there was a big, huge billboard
yeah.
looking thing all about Willie Mammoth.
I believe they call
Yeah.
that a plaque.
a plaque.
Yeah,
whatever. It
it
looks
was
like a
a
big
plaque.
billboard plaque.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
They found
I
remains.
guess we
there.
can't quit now. I know there's a big believer in the signs. Like, this was the sign. Like, hey, asshole, just stick with it a little
Actually, I
longer.
believe you said, "Hey, asshole, come look at this."
Yeah, I did.
I'm working on the boat.
Yeah,
I looked at
asshole.
it. And I was like, "Huh." All right. Cortez was upset. He almost died. He was really upset by
Yeah.
that.
He was like, "You were gonna make a swim." I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
buddy."
yeah.
The boat would have been no longer.
Yeah.
We would've been half
I'm not going down with the boat. I'm
No,
sorry.
dude,
I'm
it
not
was-
going down with the boat.
It was overloaded.
no one's calling me captain.
Yeah. Screw that. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure having
Yeah,
all
it's
of you
been
guys.
awesome.
Sea Monster, I love seeing you.
Love seeing you guys.
Trevor, I
love
really
seeing
do
them, too.
appreciate the wetsuit with the pockets.
Yeah, man.
I'm real excited.
Front
for
zip. Big fan.
a
Front
huge
zip.
fan.
Yeah.
Huge fan of the front
Loves
zip.
it.
I can't wait to see the next step you guys are going to go with the wetsuits and the hot water suits and the hat bags.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna be
have
going.
nothing but positivity for you guys. Love it. I made the bold statement that only Pressure Junkies will touch my skin.
Appreciate it.
I rub my body in them. The neoprene is so supple.
It's supple.
Supple.
Love it.
You ever just rub your neoprene?
I do. My girl
3 times a day.
my girl will come out and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm just laying on top of the shelf.
It smells like AutoZone in here. I love it.
It's all mine.
It's all mine.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in today. And listen, viewers, listeners, however you're absorbing this content, can you do me a favor? Do us a favor, the Dirty Water Boys. Just when you're watching, just subscribe and like it for us.
Smash the like button. Hit the subscribe button.
Help us out because that makes us money so we can bring more content to you guys.
Is that how it works?
And
Well,
give,
we're not-
Whoa. You getting paid for this?
and
Not
give,
yet. Not yet, but the more subscribers we get,
All right.
and give away Pressure Junkie gear.
yeah,
yes, we're giving you a Pressure
subscribe.
Junkie.
So we'll check you out and we'll send you some free shit. So let's
right.
do this, everybody.
Let's keep it going.
Where can people buy your products? Where you got them at?
PressureJunkies.com. Obviously, that's for me. Then Baytech Industries, Ocean Eye.
Yeah, give a shout out to Chris.
Yeah, Ocean
Hi,
Eye.
Chris.
Chris Gable, right?
Chris Gable.
Yeah, Chris Gable at Ocean Eye. Great.
Good people.
Will Chris Gable send me a rack? Because Baytech won't.
I deal with a lot
2
of
more
Baytech.
likes, I got you.
Carl Jr. over at Baytech. And
I would thank Carl Jr. not to interrupt you for the T-shirts.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I
Yeah.
wear them in good health. I appreciate it.
and then always just come to PressureJunkies.com or call me. You can talk to me on the phone. It'll be great. Good
Apparently, he'll
conversation.
give you a discount.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that is.
Well, we'll figure it out.
We'll
Right
discuss
on.
it.
I'll make a discount for you when we get out here, and I'll tell you so you can give it to your listeners.
I don't like my listeners that much.
I don't like.
I
them
love
either.
you guys, though. Don't worry about Dirty Water Don.
I love my listeners.
With that being said, thanks again, guys, for coming in, and tune in next time.
Thanks
you.
for having us.